Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee. This is the 25th day of March, 2014. I'm joined by the great councilman of the 11th District, which is the coastal district of Los Angeles, Mike Bonin, and my colleague Joe Buscaino is in his district, along with our friends from the White House and our mayor, Mr. Garcetti, to announce the Summer Youth Employment Program. So any opportunity for youth, we should try to extend that for youth. I was once a youth, and the first thing they talked about is helping senior citizens on the 21st floor. Bill Elkins, Mayor Bradley's deputy. Remember, one day you'll be a senior citizen. Well, I'm there now, but I'm looking at Bud. You're there too. When we help youth and we employ youth, it's good for all of us. So that's what the message is. So let's turn it on right now. Item number one.
Item number one is an agreement with Leidos, Inc. for air quality monitoring services at the harbor.
Good. The Harbor Department Commission approved it, correct?
Yes.
Got it. Just give us a brief and then we'll go. You got anything interesting?
Not on the harbor. This agreement is with, good morning, Councilman. This agreement is with Leidos Incorporated Engineering Company. They work our monitoring stations. There's 4 of them. They download the data, QA it, upload it to our website.
Got it. And state your name for the record.
Chris Cannon, Director of Environmental Management, Port of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Chris. And could you just give us, I think it'd be interesting, Mike, if you have any records like the last 20 years, because air quality has improved. Now, I don't know if we had this kind of monitoring, but it'd be interesting to see what the change is. I know physically, because I hike every day in Griffith Park and I look over the city, and I remember the days when you'd see a very, very smoky Southeast Bay, I call it, and it's not just South Bay like Hermosa and Redondo, but by the Port of Los Angeles, and the Port of Long Beach. So if we could do that, that'd be great. And the CAO is okay with this?
Yeah, Alderman, we're okay with the recommendation. We recommend approval.
Thank you. Okay, so ordered. Next item.
Item number 2 is an amendment to the Foreign Trade Zone Development Agreement at the harbor with Cognac Pacific Gateway at the harbor.
Good.
Good morning, council members. Mike DiBernardo, the Port of Los Angeles. It's for a developer site agreement in Torrance, California, and it's a total of 93 acres? 93 acres, and it's site number 7, so they have 15 buildings. It's a developer agreement, and the commission has approved it.
Good. What's the local paper in Torrance?
Oh, and so Daily Breeze, and so I wanted to mention that we are developing an ad that we're going to have ready to place in May, like you requested the last time we were here. And actually, it's going to be our 20th anniversary for FTZ, so we're going to tout that and mention it in the newspapers in San Bernardino, as well as the Daily Breeze in Torrance.
Absolutely. And one paper owns a lot of those neighborhood papers. So I just think it's so important. We were both back at the League of Cities, and I was at the League of Cities, and one of these issues was the trade zones, and some congressional action that has to take place, but
correct.
Promote that. That's great. Very good.
So 20th anniversary, we're going to put it in the newspapers as you requested. So.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Newman, CAO, we also recommend approval for the FTZ development.
Super. Okay.
Thank you.
So ordered. Thank you, Mr. Bonin. Next item.
Item number 3 is a professional services agreement with Arcadis, Inc. for construction management services at the harbor.
Good morning, committee members. James Davis with the Harbor Department. This is CM Services, professional services agreement with Arcadis, Inc. to provide CM support services for one of the TRAPAC construction contracts, the berth 142, 143 backland development. We're coming before you for approval because it's a 4-year agreement.
And what part of the port is it on? Is it on the island, or is it on, where is it in the port area?
In terms of
location.
It's at the TRAPAC terminal at berth 142,
Got it.
143.
Okay, good. Super. Thank you.
Alvin Newman, CAO office, we recommend approval for this report.
Thank you very much. So ordered. Thank you, Michael. Next item, Mr. Italian.
I understand that you've been requested to have item number 4 at the end of the meeting, so shall we go on to item 5?
Why not? If you suggest that, I'll take that suggestion.
Always
5.
listen to LAVAC.
Yeah, always listen to LAVAC. That's code 1.
Item number 5 is a proposed parking operation or management agreement with Parking Concepts for services at Ontario.
Yeah, but, okay, Mark.
Mark Adams, Los Angeles World Airports, and with Jess Romo from our airport manager from Ontario. This is for an 8-year parking contract to manage the parking facilities out in Ontario, and replaces a new agreement that replaces an agreement that had been extended several times while we go through the RFP process.
Good. In the CAO's office?
Yes, Andrea Mills, CEO Office, we recommend approval of this proposed award.
And what kind of revenue does this provide annually?
The revenue at LA Ontario is approximately $2 million annually, and the $16 million annually, and the revenue at Van Nuys is approximately $2 million annually.
16 million?
16, LA Ontario,
wow.
yes,
Okay.
Ontario, and
2
2 Van Nuys.
You got it. Thank you. Mr. Bonnet, any questions?
Passenger service has dropped off at Ontario, as we know. How many million annual passengers do we have now?
We're currently at 3.96 as of the end of 2013,
From a high of...
from a high of 7.2 million in 2007.
So presumably there are fewer people parking there.
There are fewer people parking there. Just a note on these are gross revenue figures that they don't take into account the cost to hire the operator as well as pay parking tax to the City of Ontario. So relative to what the net revenue is, that's still going to be analyzed. We may be changing the parking rate structure. We haven't decided that yet. But the important feature of this contract here is it will provide for an updated revenue control system, which will allow us to be able to more efficiently collect the revenue and audit the revenue streams coming in.
How has the fact that there are fewer people parking there affected the terms of the parking contract?
Well, this contract was already coming up for renewal, so this casts it out for an 8-year term with, I think, 2 one-year options. The reason it's the length that it's being asked is that there's a sufficient amount, or there's a substantial amount of capital investment, this revenue control system, a lot of electronics and IT infrastructure. It allows us to amortize that over the 8-year period. The fact that we've got fewer people parking, what we've done is we've actually consolidated parking areas to make the ones that operate more efficient. We want to make sure that we're keeping people as close to the terminal complex as possible. So as traffic has fallen and we've seen fewer parkers, we've actually closed some parking lots that previously had operated.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you all. Approval.
Next item. Item number 6 is a proposed lease with Air New Zealand for storage and maintenance at LAX.
Again, Mark Adams from Los Angeles World Airports. This is a 5-year plus 5-year option lease for a aircraft maintenance facility on Imperial Highway there at LAX. Air New Zealand currently runs their maintenance operations out of Terminal 2. This will give them a small dedicated space that they can keep their maintenance supplies and equipment.
You give them a sister city discount. Auckland is a sister city, and I think one of their popular flights is Auckland, Los Angeles, London. I know. So.
Yes, that's a very popular route for them is to London through LAX.
CEO likes this?
Yes, Andrea Mills, CEO, recommend approval of the proposed award.
Good. And they have some beautiful paint on their planes. They dress them up with their Kiwi style, which is good. So I say that because I like sister cities, so I just want to say that. All right, item 7.
Item 7 is an air carrier operating permit for various air carriers at Ontario.
Okay.
I'll let Jess take lead on this one.
Jess Romo, the airport manager. This is requesting approval for the air carrier operating permit, which is actually at Ontario, the non-signatory agreement that we have. Although we've got currently 11 carriers that operate as non-signatories, they represent about 2% of the activity. That said, you have to have some type of an operating agreement to land aircraft at Ontario. So this provides for that. This is the mechanism that allows for non-signatory carriers to operate at Ontario Airport.
It makes it easier for people to land at Ontario Airport?
Well, it's always easy to land at Ontario Airport. It's a well-kept secret, although I'm not sure why. Our landing fees are half of what they are at LAX. So landing fees are not the problem at Ontario Airport.
What are the landing fees, just so we know the...
Landing fees at Ontario currently are $2.32 per 1,000 pounds of landed weight. They've got two landing fees at LAX, one for cargo, one for passenger. I'm mostly familiar with the passenger rate, which is about $4.60 per 1,000 pounds. So we're about half of what they charge at LAX.
When did that switch, Mark? Do you know? I remember when Councilman Rosendahl took office, Ontario's were actually higher.
Well, the landing fees flipped about 2 years ago.
Well, actually, the landing fees have actually been lower at Ontario for quite a number of years. What the other metric that's used is the cost per enplanement. Now, that one has switched in the last 2 years. That's strictly a financial measurement of the cost to an airline to get a passenger on a plane leaving the airport, which we are also lower than LAX as of about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
If you could just see these two blank sheets of paper, put Ontario plane, LAX plane, and what the landing fees are, some diagram like you would see on the box of a cereal that's real simple to understand. You understand?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. Appreciate it. Good, okay. Any questions?
No.
Thank you. So approved. Next item.
Under item 8, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits for approval the Sixth Amendment to the contract with the Sohagi Law Group. This is for legal services to assist LAWA and the City Attorney with land use and environmental law and related matters. The amendment would increase the contract amount by $960,000 for a total contract amount of $2.985 million, and would extend the term by 18 months to expire in February 2016.
Thank you. Hello.
This is primarily to fund...
State your name for the record.
Suzanne Tracy, City Attorney's Office.
Yes, Suzanne.
LAWA. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather
That's okay,
today.
don't worry. We all got it.
Okay, so basically this is primarily related to the SPAS litigation. It's a very vigorously litigated matter. We have 3 different petitions. We have new parties. The City of Ontario, County of San Bernardino, and the local union have joined. The petitions themselves are over 100 paragraphs. It's an extensive administrative record. We have like 7 years of administrative record. This is primarily to get us through the petition trial that was scheduled for August, then was moved to September. We've now transferred venue. I don't know how much detail you want. We truly need this. It's a...
I can save you $900,000 right now. Just drop the foolish plans to move the North Runway. Lawsuits will go away.
Got it, but that's not what we're going to do. But
not within my...
Got it.
not
All
within
right,
my
so
pay
you
grade,
okay with
sir.
this?
Not wild about it, but I understand the necessity of it. So
Got it, okay, so we're going to vote approval. Thank you very much. Thanks for your honesty, Michael. That's very good. It's very helpful there. Okay, next item.
Item 9, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits for council approval the Los Angeles International Airport Plan Compliance Report, and submits for council adoption and certification the final environmental impact report for the LAX West Aircraft Maintenance Area. The committee members might want to refer to pages 1 and 2 of LAWA's report. There you'll find the list of actions that LAWA is asking council to make.
Thank you very much. We got a presentation from the Airport and City Attorney's Office.
Good morning, council members. Lisa Trifoletti on behalf of the Los Angeles World Airports.
And Cynthia Guidry.
And the project before you, LAWA is seeking to consolidate, relocate, and modernize certain aircraft maintenance hangars that currently exist at the airport. And with this project, we will be providing a state-of-the-art maintenance facility that would provide for the more efficient and effective maintenance activities for our aircraft, including the A380. This provides also apron area, as well as we have done this project in concert with the local community stakeholders. We've worked with the FAA, the AQMD, and we believe we have before you today, you've got a final EIR, the CEQA findings, the statements of overriding consideration, and the specific plan compliance report.
Thank you. Mr. Bonner has some questions.
Well, one, I wanted to highlight this because you talked about how you've done this with the community, and I made my comments about the foolish North Runway push under the previous item. I want to talk about this because this is an example of modernization of the airport that's being done right, being done in a community-friendly way, and it makes true the mantra I've had is that we need a world-class airport that is a first-class neighbor, and I think this is an example of that. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the FEIR looks different in some respects than the draft EIR because you added mitigations and made some changes to make things better for the community. Could you detail those, please?
Yes, I can tell you. Well, even at the outset, from the start of the project at the notice of preparation stage, at the initial stage, we made refinements to the actual project design and even looked at a ground run-up enclosure, which was once proposed as part of this project to be pulled out as a separate and independent study. But from the draft EIR period to the final EIR, in large part it was the city of El Segundo, our neighbors to the south, that had a lot of concerns about how the maintenance facility would actually operate. So what we worked out was a number of conditions in terms of making sure we enforced how run-up activity would happen at the site, how we would abide by the curfew, a number of conditions that we then included into the final EIR project and then now have put into our lease agreements and our rules and regulations. And then with that, we achieved a support from project opponents.
What are some of those mitigations?
The mitigations, if you look to I have a handout for you.
Yeah.
Some of these additional project design features include quarterly reporting of engine run-ups, which would include, would require our tenant to do a quarterly report on the number, time of day, duration, and specific aircraft type run-ups conducted at the site. Auxiliary power units, there will be restrictions on that so that you cannot use the APUs while the aircraft is at that project site. Aircraft taxiing, they must be tugged and towed to that project site during the nighttime hours. Automated run-up monitoring system. We would install a monitoring program to actually, show that we're encouraging compliance with our conditions. Excluded site uses, we would have no passenger boarding or deplaning except in emergencies. And then there was a request, because we have significant hauling from that project site, to contribute our pro rata share to the resurfacing of a portion of Imperial, of which we agreed to, provided that we get FAA support.
A proportionate pro rata share of that. How are you going to determine that?
The methodology would be we would look at the, and I have folks here that can answer that question as well, and Tony, you can come on up. But we would look at the existing condition, take a survey of it now. We would attribute, we know exactly the number of trucks that we anticipate to be coming, to be hauling on that site, and we could allocate any sort of repair work that would be needed associated with that, and I'll have Tony answer that as well.
Good morning, Councilman. Tony Skidmore, CDM Smith, consultant for LAWA. As Lisa said, we do it two ways. Number one, proportionally, the number of truck trips. We've estimated the number of truck trips associated with construction. We can ratio that against the daily truck trips on the road that we have a count of. We would look at the duration. Normally, resurfacing is a 15-year period, so we look at the duration of the truck trips and do proportional there. We would photo the road before and after to see if there's actually damage from the trucks, and then we would on the cost, ratio it based on the heavy truck trip volumes of construction versus the daily truck trips.
So are you only mitigating for the impact of this project or mitigating for the impact of the airport on Imperial Highway?
The former of the project.
Well,
There has to be the nexus there.
how do I get LAWA to mitigate? Because right now the road is pretty crappy anyway, and it's mainly crappy because most of the traffic, the heavy traffic on that road is trucks and cargo going off Imperial onto the airport. So how do we get beyond this fix just for this project and get LAWA to do its fair share for the whole of Imperial Highway?
Just a point of clarification, the eastbound lanes have been repaved, so it's just the westbound that's in pretty sad shape.
Mhm.
And that's a slated program with the Department of Roads, the City Department of Roads, and how they would work out for LAWA overall to contribute, I couldn't.
Well, that's what I'd like to know, because Imperial Highway is a big road. I think the westbound impact is largely because of LAWA, and I would rather LAWA pay for that than it gets sucked out of me being able to repave any of the major streets in my district, which is a pot of money it would come from.
Councilmember, we'd be happy to look into strategies. What the good thing is that in this particular project, we can and we have to, per FAA, establish a nexus and a link, of which this is our attempt to do so. But to look at a global strategy, we can look at that and do a report back.
That would be most excellent. Thank you.
Just because Imperial used to be a state highway, now it intersects right there with the interstate. There's some point where, and we've had the same thing in Hollywood where Highland was a state highway, that the designation, maybe it's still there or removed, so look into that. And then I think Mr. Bonner makes great sense. It's very difficult when you have a major city facility like the Port of Los Angeles, like the airport, and the impact it would have on the small piece of pie that each 15 get to do resurfacing for the areas. And I think that's a concrete street with like a cracked seal on it, if I remember right. It's really quite a bumpy road, so it should be done. So that's a good thing.
Councilman, we can certainly look at that. We know that Hyperion Treatment Plant also utilizes Imperial Highways, but we can look at various uses of that and see what.
And tie-in sanitation, they'll pay for part of it too. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
it.
on that
Good job.
I'll be on them too.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
We'll approve this. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Next item.
Under item 10, we have continued consideration of the city attorney's reports and draft ordinances, and the convention center reports, all regarding revisions to the governance structure of the LA Convention Center and the Convention Center Department. Request to change the name of the Convention Center Department also.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bonin. And I mentioned Mr. Busca. You know, I did take time and walk the facility with Mr. Overham, who's one of the top senior citizens. You said that, I wasn't, because I'm a senior citizen. You're a young guy, so we're in the same category. But one of the top administrators in California, as a former city manager, as a former deputy mayor, as a former department head of various departments, and having this opportunity to see that, have this great understanding, I think we're in a position to push right ahead. I do have a name change, but if the city attorney or the general manager wants to state some...
Just very quickly, Bud Overham, Executive Director of the Convention Center. Very quickly, you've heard all the merits and discussion of the governance structure. We're going fine on that, and we have privatization with AEG is going great. But the one thing that's caused us some confusion is the name of the building is the same as the name of the department. And now AEG is the manager of the building, and we're the operators of the department. So there's this confusion between the name of the department and the name of the building. And so the commission, LA Tourism, AEG, everybody got together, went through about 15 names, and we've given the name. It doesn't quickly roll off your tongue, but we've put the name in the letter that we sent to you, recommended be the Department of Convention and Tourism Development. And so we would simply ask, and I think the city attorney can comment, we would ask that you incorporate that into your recommendation so that the council can have that by the time the full ordinance reaches the council.
Yeah, any questions?
I remember when we changed the name of LAWA from DOA.
Right, I know. I kind of...
That
Department of, And even the state office building down the street is not the state office building down the street, because state office building is SO, and I don't know what the last word is, B, whatever that is, because it's named after a former president, so they wouldn't want to say Ronald Reagan State Office Building. They changed it because of that. So it's interesting. So if anybody's down there at the LA Times or the Daily News, there's a good story. I know that. All right, that's all right, good. What's the acronym? LADCT? D. All right, you got it. All right. I like Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Development, but this is fine how it is. So may I, City Attorney, read into the record this name change, if you could approve it?
You certainly may do that as part of a motion.
If that's the best our marketing folks are coming up with, we're in trouble.
No. This is, the Los Angeles Department of Convention and Tourism Development shall replace the name of the Los Angeles Convention Center Department. And I'll present this to the City Attorney. Is that okay? So you have that in writing, and we'll make that motion, seconded by Mr. Bonin.
But
So, Sergeant?
council members, I believe that you still have to ask the council to instruct the city attorney to make these changes.
Okay, so would you prepare the documents that I need to do to instruct the council, whatever it is? And when's this going to be in council? Because we're anxious.
Still, this is also referred to Budget and Finance as well as Economic Development Committee. So it still has two.
Economic Development has acted. They're done.
Well, since the original ordinance has been submitted, there's been two more reports, so they do have those other reports under consideration at this point. So they can waive and move it forward quickly.
We'll talk and see if we could move that as well.
And, Mr. Chair, do I understand that you are now requesting that the City Attorney's Office make the necessary revisions to the revised draft ordinance and have them ready for whenever this does go to the full
Correct.
council?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
We'll be
very
happy
much.
to do that.
You got it, with the new name. Okay, I think that's good. Good, okay, so ordered.
And not an SOB and not a DOA.
No, not DOA. No, you got it. Thank you. We have one public comment card. That's been approved, so we'll expedite that to council, or wherever it goes. Thank you very much.
And then we have item 4.
And we're going to go back to item number 4 in a minute, but I want to take public comment now because they could probably add to it. Robert Brendan, is that it? Say it again.
Robert Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, San Pedro.
Special hello to Mike, Councilman Bonin.
Mike is good.
I'd say it was an intense 3 months in October of 08 and September. But in any case, I'm here today to speak about Raise LA. I had sent a letter to Council Member Buscaino. I am his constituent. I know he gets lots of mail. I hadn't received a reply. So I thought I would come here and just read the letter into the record, if I might. And it's addressed to Councilman Joe Buscaino. It's from the San Pedro Democratic Club. I happen to be the president. We're full of community activists in San Pedro. And it's, Dear Councilman Buscaino, on October 28, 2013, the San Pedro Democratic Club passed a motion in support of Raise LA and their efforts to establish a living wage ordinance for hospitality workers employed by Los Angeles hotels with 100 rooms or more. Our club has gathered over 200 signatures from San Pedro residents who support this effort. Los Angeles is an international destination. The tourism industry is at the heart of our economy, making it one of the city's largest employers, accounting for nearly 1 in 10 jobs. In recent years, the hotel industry has been enjoying record-breaking profits, yet it continues to be the largest provider of poverty wage jobs. As a result, approximately 40% of Los Angeles leisure and hospitality workers are living in poverty. This crucial sector of our economy is failing to live up to its potential as a positive economic driver within our communities. Instead, it's contributing to the growing poverty and low quality of life for many Angelenos. As Democrats and active San Pedro stakeholders, we recognize that healthy communities result from thriving residents. Over 1,000 Los Angeles hotel workers live within the council district, making this a key area for implementation of this ordinance. We want the profits from our highly successful tourism industry to come back to our communities, supporting our neighborhoods, working families, and local businesses. According to Raise LA, once these workers are paid with a living wage with modest benefits, they will return $500 million in discretionary spending to the local economy, creating much-needed economic stimulus from the ground up. I urge you to support this district's working families, local businesses, and diverse neighborhoods by supporting Raise LA.
Thank you. You can give it to the sergeant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
have
the
a good day.
opportunity.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment card?
No, but we just recently.
Okay. Number 4. All right. Relax for a second. Okay, let's call item number 4.
Under item 4, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for council approval permit number 905 with Fisherman's Pride Processors Incorporated, doing business as Neptune Foods, for the establishment of a seafood processing facility at 338 Cannery Street at Fish Harbor on Terminal Island. The permit would have a term of 10 years with 2 5-year renewal options for a potential maximum term of 20 years.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Carmelich. I'm from the Harbor Department. This proposed action will grant a 10-year permit with 2 5-year options to Fisherman's Pride Processors Incorporated, doing business as Neptune Foods. This project will establish a seafood processing facility at 338 Cannery Street in Terminal Island, within the Fish Harbor area of Terminal Island. Redeveloping this facility is important to the revitalization of commercial fishing in Fish Harbor. Currently, the area is underutilized due to the decline of large-scale canneries in the United States, and the vast majority of this facility has been vacant since 2011, when Chicken of the Sea International had vacated. A quick highlight of some of the proposed terms are, once again, it's a 10-year permit with 2 5-year tenant options for a potential maximum of 20 years. The premises is approximately 4.3 acres, and that will include 100,000 square feet of building area, which includes warehouse, freezer, and office space, approximately 88,000 square feet of land in excess of the building, and approximately 150 square feet of wharf area for a fish pump. Neptune expects to process over 30 million pounds of fish once the project is fully built out, and this will create 30 to 40 year-round jobs and at least 100 jobs during seasonal peaks. And that's in addition to the construction jobs that will be created during the build-out during the construction.
Very good. And anyone else from the Harbor Department?
I'm Sumita. I'm also with the Harbor Department.
Good. Thank you so much. CAO?
Alvin Newman from the CAO's office. We recommend approval of this report. I did want to identify that there's a typo in our report and the fiscal impact statement. Instead of $240,000 annually, it should be $264,000.
260. That's the report there on page 1. Mr. Bonnet, you have any questions? I'm good. Good. We do have one public comment card. If want to sit at the table. I want to say it right. Tommy, how do you pronounce your last name? Farai? Farai. Thank you. Okay.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Tommy Falvai. I represent International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 11. And, I'm here to support the project, but I'm here also to get consideration from the committee that Neptune Foods Company works together with the building trades. I understand that this project is obligated to do prevailing wage and adhere to the state law requirements. But we would, with working together with Neptune Foods and the building trades together with this particular project will mean a lot to the building trades. I understand that this project is a $7.5 million project. Unfortunately, it wasn't covered under the master PLA at the Harbor Department, but we look forward to working together with Neptune Foods in the near future when the construction development comes up. So if we can have any consideration from the committee.
I don't think we would have direct consideration, but we hear your suggestion. I think that's a matter between all parties as that moves forward. But thank you very much for coming and stating that. Please note this card. Mr. Bonnet, you're to approve. So approved. Move forward. And it's in City Council today. So Mr. Buscaino will be there if you want to talk to him too, Tommy. So no other questions? That's approved. Is there any item on the agenda? No other item. Go ahead and have a good day today, everybody. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you for your participation.